Start. Greetings, everyone. My name is Tim Selden. I'm president of the Montessori Foundation. I'm a school consultant, and I'm here with my colleague Clint Lausch, who is the president and founder of a company called AIM. Clint, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, good to see a lot of familiar names and faces here. Yeah, thanks Tim. And yeah, I own software platform AIM, stands for Admissions Inquiry and Marketing Software. The way I like to think about it is kind of like the HubSpot for schools, helping schools do their marketing and admissions all in one spot, making life a little bit easier for them. And yeah, looking forward to. We got to start counting these, Tim. I don't even know which number we're on for which webcast. We've got to be what 20, 15, maybe. I don't know. I got to go back and look how many sessions we've
I
had,
think
but
that's funny. I do
yeah,
want to remind everyone that we load them on YouTube, usually the day of the webcast. Sometimes if I'm busy, it may be a day or two later. And if you go to YouTube and you look for either Find the Perfect Match or the Montessori Foundation, they are one of the playlists that we have there. And you can look at all of them. And we're building a nice collection. I mean, the intention here, though, is not for this to be a webinar. We could use GoToWebinar for that. This is intended to be a conversation, and we encourage you to share your camera, talk to each other. You don't have to, but the intention is for this to not be the typical sit down and listen, but rather join in a conversation. So do feel free to do that. So Clint, today we're talking about the idea of how do you work with both prospective families, uh, even possibly, well, I suppose ads to people who are not yet interested in Facebook and so forth. You might put out ads where you spotlight a faculty member. And what we're obviously trying to do is both get people's attention, build confidence in our school, um, obviously say thank you to the great people on our faculty by spotlighting them and their unique projects one by one. It's all part of a process. So what would you like to share?
well, one thing I want to talk about. So as we look to highlight faculty, I go back to it's something geez, I think about regularly when it comes to marketing, both for marketing when I think about for prospective families, but also when I think about retention and reinforcing the value proposition with your families. And through a lot of survey data that I've seen over the years and back from my experience with independent school management, um, and actually mentioned this last week in this webcast, excuse me, which is, when asking families, what are the reasons why you've stayed at a school? And then also, what are you looking in for? What are you looking at in a school, right? And think about, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle when it comes to school, right? Whether it's I'm looking for certain sports or certain academic environment or certain size of school or certain activity, whatever it might be. Two of the top three reasons, well, number one and two of the top three have to do with faculty. So when you think about why does somebody stay at a school, it's likely going to be based upon the faculty and the experience with the faculty. So accordingly, knowing that, being able to highlight your faculty in a way that just shows obviously, how great they are and the great work that they're doing. Obviously, this plays a role in attracting prospective um, families as well. And I also think about it in terms of how to do it. I think about it in our content. We've talked a lot about content over the past several sessions, social media content, creating content for your website, creating content in your email. And this is one of those pieces that should be one of the core elements of when you're thinking about creating content, even on the daily basis of your social media content, being able to highlight your faculty is one. And what I like about it is you can also always do it. There's a thing that I like to call like evergreen content, which is you could post something about your faculty today, the same as you could post it over the summer, as you could post it next September. Um, so being able to get that into the mix with your especially again, I'll focus on social media content because I know when it comes to social media, it can it can feel like we've always got to post what happened today or what happened yesterday. And we get on this treadmill of just, oh, I got to post what had happened today, get a picture and post today. But you can really plan out your content with evergreen content and get that into the mix. And great evergreen content is has to do with your faculty. And we'll talk about a variety of ways that I've seen work really well. Is Tim, have you in particular found any strategies or really great ways to highlight faculty?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, you can welcome a new teacher to your school. You can get all of them in a really nice shot and say, meet the family. Um, and basically just list them by name and say, we love every one of you. You're all terrific. That's another strategy. In fact, I saw one school do that on a big billboard on a highway. Um, you can do it on their 5th anniversary at the school, their 10th anniversary, a promotion to a new title, a completion of a degree, or if you're a Montessori educator, completion of their Montessori credential or a new Montessori credential. I think one of the favorites I like is just to randomly select someone and say, you know, let me talk to you about my friend Clint. Clint's been with us for the last 15 years. He teaches science to our middle school kids. And let me tell you about our friend Clint. And just, sort of maybe collect some thoughts about him from parents and teachers, because I might let them know we're going to be featuring Clint. We'd love to hear if you've got a positive reflection on your years with Clint. We'd love to hear from you. And you enrich your little story based on that.
Love that. Is anybody here doing anything very specific and deliberate to highlight faculty? Whether faculty spotlights, it's a very general term. It can mean a lot of different things. But is anybody doing? Go ahead, Jody.
I am deliberately thinking about it every week and not doing it. But, no, that's not deliberate. But I put out a Google form to all of the teachers. I did this at the beginning of the school year and asked them for all of their basic education information. What's your highest degree? Where's it from? Where were you before this? What are some of your interests? So that I have the information. I just need to find the time to carve it out. And I think, like you said, the evergreen aspect, setting them all up weeks in advance, one Saturday afternoon or one PD day where I've got the time to make a format, set them all up, and then schedule them out Teacher Tuesday or whatever. I've seen a lot of Teacher Tuesdays, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. It certainly is one of the we've all got a million hats to wear, right? And we probably all have a million ideas of things we want to do, and this falls into that category. But yeah, especially when it comes to content creation, it does, sliding it right in to your content calendar when you're creating can be great. How was the response rate for teachers filling out that form? Did everybody do it?
No, but I think if I send a reminder, I probably have enough to do 10 to start. And if they see that teachers are getting highlighted, if they didn't do it, they probably will do it. I think, if they want to get highlighted. If they don't, then maybe they won't. Some people are adverse to being highlighted on social media, but so that's another thing. Like, some teachers just don't like their photos out there, even like some families. But I've had teachers say, I would rather not be out there if you can help it.
And what are the has anybody? Oh, let me ask. Does anybody else do anything with highlighting faculty and staff?
They're not all jumping up and down. I really appreciated Jody mentioning that there are teachers that would just as soon not have their pictures out there on Facebook or Instagram. However, it is really such a, I mean, why would anyone come to your school other than the people? It's the other kids that the kids are going to be with. It's the teachers, it's the leaders of the school that inspire their sense of community and sense of belonging. It's really, really important. And there's no one way to do it. I mean, you ran us through how to create Instagram Reels a couple of weeks ago, and I suspect everyone still needs work on that. But wander around the school if you have permission to do this kind of stuff, and literally just doing, Instagram live, just grabbing little vignettes or putting together an Instagram reel, a video or still photography of different scenes of students and teachers interacting is pretty powerful. Especially to combine words like, they make time to listen. They care about us, things like that.
One other thing that I do, not necessarily specific to social media marketing, but just in general, as I'm doing regular marketing or writing the newsletter, trying to incorporate all of those shout outs to them to remind people how well loved our teachers are. And also, like on the regular marketing, come and see our teachers and students in action. So like just kind of always keeping them forward in any time I'm talking about what makes our school great, our community great. But that's just sort of an overall.
And what I was thinking about doing as we're talking here, I'm gonna share my screen real quick too. I'm gonna open up just a blank document. Literally just thought about this 5 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're talking through, let's also maybe come up with a document that we can work on together and come up with ideas of what are things that are working, what are some really good ideas, and then we can share this with everybody as well. So Jody, you had said, first thing is, having teachers fill out a Google form with I'll just say their info, which is like background, education, hobbies, we'll just say, etc. Any unique questions you add in there? Anything like that it really gets a great response that maybe you don't expect? Anything open-ended?
No, but I think it's worth ask or thinking about, like what would be kind of a fun question. One thing I also asked them to do is upload a couple of photos, not necessarily like their teacher photo, but like doing something they enjoy doing with their dogs. If they want to put their family on social, they can do that. And then I just pulled through it. I don't want to put just any crazy party pics or anything like that, but if there's a couple of decent shots, and then I'm thinking I will incorporate those with classroom shots that I've also taken of them in action with kids.
Love it. Anybody else, as we're thinking through here, ideas on effective ways to spotlight, showcase faculty? Anybody had a lot of success with it?
Something that I used to do that I'm working on instilling at the Lakewood Ranch campus here is, we called it like highlighting the moment, where we would have, at the time it was like little toy rubber frogs, right? Like those little duckies that you see on everybody's dashboard, but they were frogs.
Yeah.
I've done a training that had something to do with, the frog as a symbol. So we would have like a word of the month that was like a character building word, or even highlighting like one of our operating principles or part of our mission. And any time that we saw a team member exemplifying any of the following, we would leave a frog, and they had to find out why they'd been gifted the frog, and find the person who had gifted it to them. So it made it fun, like a bit of a game. and brought out the
Interesting.
inner kid, you know, in every adult.
And I love that idea. That's very unique. Were you able to spread that message in any way? Like, hey, here's what, like, whether it's on social media or in a newsletter, like, here's what we're doing. Just out of curiosity, if that was
Yeah,
a whiz.
we did it throughout, you know, the organization, definitely, but especially making a difference with others and families. It was a great way for people to know they were caught in the act doing something, you know, exemplary. I feel like there's always such a focus on looking for things to go wrong that it was nice
Right.
to really highlight the positive, right?
How do we want to name that? I want to put that in here. How do we want to name it? What did you call it again?
Oh, that's what I'm having a difficult time with. But because it got to the point where it was so fun, it was you know,
Let's just start typing. I know you said like highlighting the moment.
yeah, um
You could-
living the mission, I guess you could call it, you
I
know.
was just gonna say that. Sounds
Oh,
good.
Jody, you read
Say
my
that,
mind.
say that one more time.
Living
What
the
did you-
mission.
Living the mission. Okay.
Mhm.
With the kids, we'll say something like caught being good. So I don't know if there's something that you can use
Yeah.
out of that. I don't know.
Method of given rubber frogs when um caught doing positive. And then, so what would happen? Remind me, what would happen after that? So they're given a frog, but they wouldn't know from who, or what happened after?
It was fun if they figured out why they were gifted the frog, right? Like if they knew they were living the mission. If not, you know, every day when we would have a morning huddle before the day started, you know, that's where they would find out who had gifted them the frog and why. But then the goal was for that individual to pass the frog on to the next person.
Cool, love it. That's very unique.
Again, one of the things that we started with was we all think about it, but we often don't go beyond thinking about it. So how do we, you know, what you've said so far, Clint, is you want to have a plan for social media because you want it to go out on a planned schedule that you think will help for your school. Then you want to track the responses to see whether anyone's even paying attention. And then you want to take the faculty content and have that ready to go. So one of the ways to do that was the idea of the questionnaire. And we also talked about the idea of celebrating milestones. And then Allison, you were talking about the idea that there are things that happen within the faculty or the students of the faculty of the school where we catch you as a teacher doing the right thing. And somehow some of that might turn into a little something you want to share in some way, shape, or form as well. We're looking for stories. Schools selling everything is about stories. And so we're trying to do is create positive stories to give people a sense of connection, of shared relationship, and of the idea that my story and your story intertwine. And getting beyond lethargy. We all put it off until tomorrow because we're all so busy, busy, busy.
Something I saw school do really well in regarding like content marketing was what was it called? It was like the nine, it was like nine inspirational. Oh no, I'm drawing a blank. It was like nine inspirational things that like in a classroom or something like that, right? It was a much better title than that. But the point was, what they did was they asked a bunch of their teachers, like, what's the one most inspirational, or what's the one thing everybody looks forward to, like to start the school year? Or what's that one thing that you do in your classroom to start the school year that everybody loves? And they asked that one question of multiple faculty members, and they just replied with like a paragraph or two, and then they put it together into like a downloadable PDF that it was on their website, it was in their blog, and it was like, here are the 9 things students love about our teacher classrooms. Everybody to do different perspectives. I got to find that. I just thought about that. I was thinking about that, Jody, when you had said, yeah, we had our teachers fill out a form, and it reminded me, it wasn't so much a form as like, we're going to ask this one question of multiple teachers, and then you can use each one as an individual spotlight. You can combine them together into a guide, a blog post. So I love those ideas where we can, ask questions, or you can ask questions and have them write the answer back. I would say next level to that is, man, it would be really great to get them on video.
Yes.
Mhm.
Then you have a whole other set of creative that you can do with video.
Can you just repeat that question that you think that it was based on? You said that you asked the teachers what was it that they,
Yeah, so I'll start typing it out here. So
okay, sorry.
ask each teacher one question, and then so I'll talk about the strategy, and then I'll give the example that I just thought of. So ask each teacher one question. Each answer can be a piece of content.
Yeah.
Combine answers into a blog post or downloadable guide. And then I think it was like 9 inspirational, something with like teacher classrooms, like 9 inspirational. I'm gonna put elements in here. There's a better word for that. 9 inspirational elements in our teachers' classrooms, or something along those lines. I think I might know where. See if I can remember where it was at. Oh, here it is. Look at that. I found it. Boom. 10 things to look for in an inspirational classroom. And I believe they had asked the teachers to give like their number one most inspirational thing. I could be, I'm almost positive. Maybe I'm wrong, but nonetheless. Yeah, so this is the Whitby School. They do a really great job with these downloadable guides. So you can create like a listicle. People love listicles. But you can do that. I mean, if we take that concept, it's like, what's the number one must read book over the summer? We asked 10 of our teachers what their favorite book to read, or what they recommend their students read over the summer, what they like to read. What is, you can do fun things, favorite vacation, hobbies, so all these fun things you can do to highlight. Um, do the same thing with your students as well. Ask the students, what's the favorite thing your teacher ever did for you or helped you with? And now you get the students talking about their experience with the teacher. So it's a different take on this, the other way around. So you could even say, ask students about favorite teacher, not even such like favorite teacher, favorite thing a teacher did for you. Oh, Jody, it said listicle. Yeah, so it's like 9 top things, 5 favorite things. You see those types of articles. I think was it BuzzFeed, I think really made that popular, right? Um, so those are always great. Has anybody ever done a teacher takeover on social media? Have you ever done one of those?
No.
Not too common, but I've seen it done by students. I've seen it done by teachers. I got to find. I think Ravenscroft, I believe, did the teacher takeover. So teacher takeovers can just be things like. So I'll start brain dumping some ideas here. So teacher takeover. You could do things like day in the life of, insert teacher, right? Day in the life of our chemistry teacher, Mrs. Smith, right? Like behind the scenes, how we prepare for the school play, something like that. Um, how insert teacher, right? What is this? I was looking some old stuff. What was this one? Teacher brings history to life in the classroom, right? Like lab day. So like science experiments, you can have lab day with insert teacher. And then the teacher, has the phone. They know like, hey, this is my day. I'm gonna take you behind the scenes, or I'm gonna just video our day doing a lab in science class. Or hey, we've got a play coming up. I'm gonna take you behind the scenes of how we get ready for the play. So I've seen student takeovers in a very similar way and teacher takeovers. They can be really great. And again, makes for a fantastic social media content. But I also don't want to forget that, if you have an email newsletter, make sure you put these things in your newsletter, because your newsletter is going to go out to current families. Say, hey, make sure you check out on Tuesday. We've got Teacher Takeover Tuesday, where we're going to go to Mrs. Smith's science class. And it's really, really great for retention, because it's all about reinforcing the value proposition. Because obviously your parents can't see what's going on in the classroom, but this is a great way. Any other cool ideas or creative ideas to spotlight faculty?
Um, we are a Catholic school and we are in the middle of Catholic Schools Week right now. So at our mass that kicks it off on Sunday, we have usually a teacher speak on why they chose to teach in the Catholic system. So I don't know if there are opportunities for, like if you don't have mass, I'm not sure what other translatable opportunities might be, but putting them in front of people. There's another thing that we're doing in Chicago. There's a parent organization called the Neighborhood Parent Network, and they'll do webinars on certain
Yeah.
topics. And whereas usually they'll have the admissions person or like principals on a panel, we're going to participate in one, and our student support lead is going to be our person on there. So I guess like maybe I can utilize that as a way to highlight Ms. Mormon, who's going to be speaking on this webinar. It might be a nice idea to push that out there, I guess. I don't know. Spitballing.
This idea of small group or public presentations where it's appropriate for someone to share a personal story, I think is really great. And one way to do that is just to, if you do hold something like school-wide or division-wide meetings of parents, students, and teachers, it'd be really great to try to coach your teachers to say to them, periodically I may, invite people to just share, why are we all here? And it's really great to have kind of some thoughts about it, because parents will often talk about why they came to a school. Sometimes students will. Again, they may need some help. Hopefully they feel pretty positive about your place. But teachers often don't think it's even necessary. So bring it up, bring it up, and encouraging people is worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the idea of being able to get faculty to be able to, engage with the community. And then again, I always come back to, my marketing brain never turns off. But yeah, if you have then you have video and audio, and especially if it's long form, you can use that. You can get probably 10, 15, 20 different pieces of content from that one event to highlight the faculty member.
Back during COVID, this is a thought that I don't know, just have. When we didn't do a back to school night in person, we did a virtual back to school night, and I videotaped each of the teachers. I was at a different school then, but talking about what is a day in their classroom like, and they highlighted their curriculum and different approaches that they use, or like they maybe even like did a tour of the classroom. And I always thought those were kind of nice that parents, even prospective parents, could go to if they lived on the website somewhere. I don't know. The principal didn't love it because not all the teachers were, as articulate or eloquent as they could have been. It made some look really good and some looked really shy or just kind of stumbled through. So I don't know. I don't know if that works globally across all teachers or not, but it's something.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Is anybody still doing virtual sessions? I see a lot of schools still doing it. I was just out of curiosity if anybody's doing any virtual info sessions or anything like that. Because it can be a great opportunity to bring faculty in there as well. Because where I was going to go with this next was I was going to ask, thinking about the open house experience, especially when it comes to prospective families. Is anybody doing an interactive open house? Anybody doing those?
Virtual or interactive in person?
No, interactive in person.
Well, it depends on what you mean. Open house means a different thing in our world from schools where they do it on a weekend or night. And yeah, they're interactive in the sense that parents are there and some students are there, and visitors are there checking out the school, and it lasts usually 2 or 3 hours, and they can ask questions. But another way is what someone else might call a school tour. And it's really great again if you introduce people to teachers, and if they have time, even if it's just one family, to share, encourage teachers, if you have something you want to share, these are examples of things that parents really love to hear. And if you really want to help the school, this is the kind of stuff that really helps. And of course, you can do the same thing with students. Encourage them. If you really want to help the school, this is stuff that'll help.
Yeah, and what I was thinking about in regards to interactive open house is, yes, you have your traditional open house, right? It's a weekend, it's a night, you have some people there, kind of a tour, elements of a tour. But interactive, a little bit different of a spin on it, which is the open house is happening while class is in session, and you actually have parents sit in and listen to or watch a lesson in progress, right? The teachers would know, that certainly prepare, but actually having parents see classes in action.
All of our open houses are during school days on purpose so they can see what classes are like. We also make really effective use of student panels for our middle schoolers, so parents can ask them direct questions. And then our middle schoolers also lead the tours from class to class. So I guess in that way they're interactive, and we find pretty good success. We actually just had one this morning.
Nice. And hey, Matt, good to have you on. I was going to ask you if you found really great success with that. It sounds like you have, and so I love that. Right, different spin on it, and that's what parents really want to see, right? Like, what's a day in the life, right? What's class really going to be like? So that's a great experience.
We've also found that if parents get the opportunity to see different kinds, especially the middle school entry, if parents can see their children in the children that are answering questions and helping them come around the school, they connect a lot better with what life will be like for their child.
Exactly right. It's a great point.
We just had our VIP, it used to be called Grandparents' Day this morning. but now we've sort of expanded it to parents, grandparents, friends, relatives, whatever. Their VIPs come in and they do just that. They'll go through to each of the classes with their kids. It's for like an hour and a half, but they'll sit in, the teachers prepare lessons, but it's kind of more interactive specifically. It's not exactly what they would be doing during a regular school day, but it does show like the interactions with the kids and the teachers, which is nice. But that's not sales, that's retention.
Yeah. And it's both, right? Highlighting faculty is both. Retention can be used for both retention and prospective recruitment. Anybody else have any other really good ideas or things that you're doing to actively highlight, spotlight, however you want to say it, your faculty? Do you know who has some really amazing ideas for highlighting faculty? ChatGPT. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with.
Oh, good.
I was doing this on another screen, and let's see what we got. When in doubt, ask ChatGPT. So I just asked for tips on highlighting faculty and marketing and retention. So, and I'll just put this in here. I'll just do some copy and pasting in this document that we could share with everybody. Faculty spotlights. So what does that mean? Short bios, educational background. So Jody, this is very similar to kind of what you were doing with the forms. Classroom moments. I'll copy paste this in a second. Let's go through and see what it came up with. This is how I like to use ChatGPT a lot, by the way, is just ideation. And we might have thought about these things already. Testimonials, course, highlighted achievements and professional development, create a day in the life series. I love this. Obviously takes a little bit more work, but if you can do maybe one of these a quarter, one of these a month, I think these are really cool ideas. Certainly video content. When in doubt, I always say, if you can get video content, like imagine you had a video of a day in the life or a video of a presentation, a video at mass, a video, whatever. And that video is 10 minutes long, 20 minutes long, 30 minutes long. You can probably get 10 to 30 pieces of smaller content out of that. And is there anybody that's using tools to create shorter clips from longer clips? Anybody using any tools that make their life easier? So when you have a chance to breathe and you're like, oh, I would love to investigate some new stuff to hopefully make your life easier. There's always an element of introducing something new, because then there's I got to learn something new, which takes time. But then hopefully when you're utilizing it saves you some time. I want to highlight two tools that I love. One is Descript. If anybody's ever heard of Descript, if you're doing video and you want to create more reels, you want to create some more short form content, you can literally take, let's just say you have a webinar ready, or a virtual information session. You load it into Descript, and then you can create smaller clips that are really nice, edited with captions, with music, whatever you want to do. You can do it so quick. It even has a tool in there where it does it for you. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it isn't. Like, you obviously want it to find the right clip, but it's pretty good. So Descript is one of them. The other one is Opus AI. Opus AI. You can even test this out. Hold on. This isn't the right one. See, this is the risk of doing live Google searches. Is it Opus Pro? There it is. That's what I was looking for. Opus Clip, Opus Pro. One long video, 10 viral clips. 10, you can actually put a video in here and get clips from it. It does a pretty good job. Again, not perfect. Has to find the right clip. But my point in saying all of this is, as you're doing a lot of these things, if you want to make your life a little bit easier, you have all this, and I guarantee you're all sitting on just hours and hours of video content that you could probably just go and reuse, repurpose, rather than feeling like, hey, I have to go create new stuff. I would first go look at what do you got already? What do you have in video, virtual information sessions, whatever they might be, and use a tool like this, Opus or Descript, and create a lot of short form content for your website, for social media very quickly. Let's see what else we got here real quick. Engage faculty and retention. So having faculty actually reach out, check in emails, faculty stories and admission events, use faculty reinforced values, celebrate teacher milestones. So some decent ideas, right? I'll just copy and paste these. Some of these are obvious. Some of them are just like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Let's just put this in here. But then what you could do is like maybe you like a day in the life series. Hey, give me ideas of exactly what I should do. What steps should I take to create a day in the life? How should I prepare for this? How should I present this? So you could take one of these and let ChatGPT even guide you in how to create those. What I'll do is for everybody that's on here, anyone with the link. So I'll say anybody with the link is a viewer, and then feel free to copy it. Let's put it in the chat. So now everybody has access to this. Tim, any other ideas or points of emphasis in regards to this topic as we approach the end of the hour?
I think that most people would love to know more about things like the script and video and how you would use that. Those are good examples. I had forgotten I have a Descript account, and I definitely don't use it properly. So those are useful things to add to our to-do list.
I've been using the script a lot for transcription, a lot for quick video recordings, especially when it comes to like software demos and things like that. But I'm about to kind of brush off the dust. I've got some team members I'm tapping on the shoulder, and even things like this webcast. We have so many hours of content, so many hours of webinar content. We're going to load that into the script and just probably create hundreds of pieces of small clips. So that could be something I'll share with everybody as we're doing that, how we're doing it.
Right. Since we have a moment or two before we have to leave, are you saying that the script, which I know I've used it to transcribe video, for example, are you saying that you could load a video into it and it will find interesting clips?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So yeah, what you do is you load a video in. Let's say you have, I'll just use the example again, a virtual information session. You have, it's in Zoom. Let's just say it's in Zoom, and the script connects to Zoom, but you can just upload the MP4 as well. And you can load it in. Maybe it's 45 minutes long. It has this AI tool that says find clips. And then what you do is you say, you can tell it either just go find a bunch of 60-second clips that you think will be interesting. Or you can say, go find clips about a certain topic, right? So you can say, hey, talk where you're talking about sports, let's just say. Maybe you want to create something around sports, and the part of the session was on sports. Find me 4 60-second clips talking about sports, and it'll break them out for you. And then you can decide whether you like them or not, or make them longer, make them shorter. But it can help save you some time to just find those clips. Or if you don't want to use that, if you find, like, sometimes I've done that and like, man, I just can't find the right clips for me because again, it's AI, it's not perfect. I'll just go through and you literally just highlight, like, okay, I'm going to highlight this section, make a small clip from that section, and then you're done. Put captions in there. It can take you just a few minutes. So that's something I personally need to do a lot better, even with my own business, is to do that. But we can all use that likely for our schools as well, as we're creating reels and short form video content. So there's a lot of tools out there that can do it. The script is probably the most popular, and I think the most versatile for how you could use it, and it's very inexpensive. You could probably get away with the free version, or I think I spend like $10 or $15 a month for it, so it's very inexpensive. But try some of these out. I mean, these tools are they're all kind of popping out of the woodwork these days, these AI tools, but they're great. They're helpful.
That's great, Clint. Wonderful. What's on our agenda for next week?
What do we got for next week? We've got navigating competitive markets, differentiating school from other private and public options.
That's a big one. Well,
It's a
welcome
It's a big one.
to welcome to re-enrollment and enrollment season, folks. So we're all in the middle of it. Let's go out there and fill those seats.
Yeah, and you know, thinking about differentiating, what we're talking about today is differentiating, right? If you can highlight your teachers, the things they're doing in the classroom, that's no clearer, more distinction of, hey, here's what we're doing versus the schools down the street. So all of this kind of goes into how to differentiate. But yeah, it's a great topic to talk about, and looking forward to it. Any final ideas, things you didn't get to say yet that everybody should know about in terms of great ways to highlight your faculty?
Nobody seems to be jumping up and down.
Nobody.
Again, I think there's endless ways, from their birthdays to anniversaries to promotions, new titles, new books that they've written, any number of things. But you've given us a lot of great ideas, Clint. In terms
Well,
of
and like I put on here at the top of this document that everybody has, use ChatGPT, or geez, who knows now? DeepSeek. Anybody see DeepSeek? That's the hot topic these days. DeepSeek AI. It's the new one on the market. But regardless of what you use, they'll all give you some good ideas. So anyway, Tim, as always, is fantastic. Thanks everybody for joining us, and have a great rest of the week. And we'll see you next week, where again we're going to talk about how to differentiate yourself from your competitors.
have a good week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.